You look like you have a whole new setup there, Marty.
Yep. We've been on a spending spree. We've been splurging out and getting some stuff. I've got the glasses, Justin. Big Pete.
They are the tackiest glasses I've ever seen in my life.
All right, fashion guru. No, where did I get them? Did I get them in Scotland? Did I? Must have done. Even folks, how are we all getting on? Yeah, Justin's pointed out I have some new home decor. So up the Jack Daniels one, because let's be honest, Jack Daniels that is effort.
I've got a Jack Daniels one up too, Marty. Look at that there.
Well, you have a pre-mixed drink. Yeah. So we have Jack Daniels. We have another wee one on here, wee tin plate Cork Distillery Company, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Pot still. And then the PS de la Resistance. I've been waiting on one of these for a long time. 7 Towers Whisky, done by Paddy Murphy, who's a proprietor of Murphy's down on Railway Street in Ballymena. Ex Lord Mayor of Ballymena, and must have been quite an intelligent and charming man, because back in the 1930s he was two-time Lord Mayor of Ballymena, and he was a Catholic, which wouldn't really have been the done thing back in the day. But yeah, so I've got one of these.
He must have been a well-respected man, Marty.
He must have been a really
well-respected man.
He was. I've had the good fortune of showing his 2 grandsons around Ballymena, various places where he was from, and his old house, Ardevin, which is now the council offices. He lived there. It was his house, and they remembered being as a child, being in and around it. But Murphy's was a very big concern at the time, down in Railway Street. And they ended up, they were just a bottlers and a distributors, and they give up the whiskey. But I got one of those posters, so I'm well chuffed. I had to drive quite a distance to go and pick it up, but I was well impressed. And also I thought I would impress my friend, Eamon, who collects all Ballymena-related stuff. And I said, oh, I've got a great poster, sent him a picture of it. And then he sent me back that he already has 2 of them to get. I should have known.
That's always the way. Always the way.
Eamon has loads of stuff. He's a great fella. Great fella.
We better say hello to some of the people watching tonight. A lot of the usuals watching. Sean McCallum saying hello to you. Remember to comment, like, and share on YouTube or Facebook. We'll give you a mention if you
send us a message. You say hello to us, we'll send hello back.
Exactly. Frank Hearn is saying evening all. He's got on the cast strength sulky tonight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lovely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Frank, you love that cast strength sulky, boy. You like the sulky. You definitely do.
And he says he's on bottle 99.
I think that's maybe the number of the bottle, as opposed to his 99 bottle that he's drank.
No, I know. Listen, I don't mind Jack Daniels and Coke. Don't mind it.
Well, no. Listen, there ain't nothing wrong with Jack Daniels and Coke. A JD and Coke, perfectly acceptable drink. But like this, it wouldn't sell as much and be as enduring as it was if it wasn't for there's some good quality about it. Jack Daniels, nothing wrong with Jack Daniels. Let's be honest. There's a few whiskey snobs.
He's saying hello.
Look down on it.
Yeah, I have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Julie Mason is saying hello as well. Let me see who else is in there tonight. Michael Matthews is in there as well. Here we go again. Yes, we've been doing this for over 2 years now, Marty. And even Sergius was saying we're doing well to keep it up.
It's little under I drink. That's I need a stiff drink to send talk to Justin for an hour.
I know. Tony saying hello as well. And Linda Cox as well. Jodie Birchin from
Prince Edward
Island.
over Potato Land.
Yeah. And
David.
let me see.
David down Shortcross. Now, I have a review of this already done, David. I'm going to put it out. I will have to say, I love that. I love the wee Shortcross written around the cork. That's cool. That is a very nice touch. Very nice touch. Like that.
David Boyd Armstrong saying hello.
Yeah.
And let me see who else is saying hello. Brian Cassidy saying he's not on a lot, but he loves the show. Listen, Brian, you don't have to watch the show live. If you go on YouTube, it's dead easy to find all the back catalogue, and you can pick and choose the ones that you like, the ones you prefer, because some of them are a bit more tongue-in-cheek, some of them are a bit more serious, some of them will have the big hitters from the whiskey world in there, and we can never tell which shows people are going to prefer, because sometimes the big hitters hardly any watches, and sometimes the obscure things.
Sometimes whenever it's just me and you talking crap to each other.
People love
me and you talking crap to each other over and over seems to do well.
It is. Frank Harron's got a question before we launch into the news this week. He says, what's the difference between the red and the green label?
Been released yet. This is not an unreleased bottle that we picked up down at Shortcross, down in Radaman. This is rye, malted rye, and malted barley, 50-50. So this is an Irish whiskey, very good. I sent a sample over to a friend of mine in Scotland who reviewed it, and his words were, "It's a spice bomb. It's lovely. He was bowled over by how good it is, and it is very, very, very good, very good." I don't think it's as spicy as he said it was. I think it's a little bit muted spice. It's got a very weird nose. It's kind of bubblegummy, like hubba bubba on the nose, and it tastes really nice. But this will be coming out shortly, but it's not released yet. That's why it's different, Frank.
Yeah, I think some of the whiskey auction sites have a couple of bottles on there as well. Tony Sillett, he says he's on the cheap SOL from England. Blotgen, Scotia Victoriana cast strength, and an Aaron Sherry cast this week. Very nice.
Tony,
very nice.
Tony, today's St. George's Day, by the way. So happy St. George's Day to anybody watching in England. I was thinking about this earlier on. We must catch up with Rob from the English Whisky Society again sometime very soon. And Tony, Glen Scotia Victoriana is awesome. It just is awesome. And I have this on the table tonight because I want to just talk later on. I'll talk a little, just briefly, about the next bottles that are going to blow up, because you've got Macallan and Springbank these days. You can't get a bottle of Springbank for love and money. You just can't. Macallan keep releasing all these things that just go through the roof price wise, but yeah, I think Glendronach and Glen Scotia are two that are just going to go. Prices for them are going to go crazy in the next few weeks. Next few months, I think they'll just go absolutely bonkers.
Michael Matthews is saying over came Bangor today. Scurry stuff, but final next week. What's that? The rugby? Skulls rugby, is it, or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe we should know. I should
Michael.
know. I was busy.
No idea. Must be Skulls rugby.
Listen, Michael, what are you talking about? And Tony says he's English, but he lives in Wales. Aye, good man. Happy St. George's Day. I'm just plugging that in because my party's.
Yes, and the Whiskey Lover Society in Belgium are saying hello. Yes, we're always like to hear from fellow aficionados. Yes, yeah.
Tony's saying he's got 4 bottles of Springbank tucked away. I put it like this. I wish I had tucked this away. Because you know what this is going for a bottle now, Justin? Mm-hmm. This is about £700 a bottle. God, I wish I had the £700 rather than this. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but I'd rather have the 700 quid than that.
I know. Well, there you go. Now, obviously, because I'm...
Jet Set Justin is away.
Not at home this week. Yes, we have no jingle this week because I forgot to load it into the system before it came. So we just have to pretend we're going to play the news jingle now, and we'll move our heads like this here. And I won't piece it in later on because it ruins
You look
the
like
live.
Max Headroom
You
sitting down
figure
there with
don't
your head
piece it in.
shaking. Yeah. Remember it, Max Headroom?
I know. I don't know whether you haven't got the new broadband yet, have you? No,
Not yet. So my
Yeah.
internet's a bit up and down, but what can you do? It was dead sunny down here today, and I was out and about all day, and it's. I think I've got a touch of the sun, to be honest. But anyway, right, we'll do a bit of news, and then we've got a really interesting video that we did a few weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago now. And bear with it; it's an environmental thing, but you'll see whenever we're talking about it why it's whiskey related. It takes a second, but you'll see. Now we have to talk about. Have you ever, Justin? This probably applies to you. Have you ever spent £5,000 on something, £5,000 on something, and then just forgot about it? Probably. Justin probably has done that many times.
Well, yeah, but not to the level that these guys have.
Well,
not to the level that some of these.
Someone bought a cask of Macallan in 1988, and for £5,000, which is today, apparently, I don't know, one of them inflation adjusters is about 15,000, and then forgot about it. So he forgot about it, and now it's being auctioned. It's on Whisky Hammer, and it ends tomorrow night. And I'll just check the price of it currently. He bought it for £5,000, and currently it's sitting at £800,000. Yeah. So he's done all right. He or she has done all right there. Now, it has went up 20,000 in the last hour. I mean, I no doubt it's going to top the million. I mean, I don't doubt that for a second.
Wow.
Now, when you buy it, there's a bit of info on the website about when you buy it. When you buy it, you have to have it out. Basically, if you spend, I mean, it's probably going to go for £1 million. Macallan required that this cask is removed from the warehouse by the 10th of June as a condition of sale. This will be the responsibility of the buyer upon purchase following completion of the transfer. I wonder what they do if you don't pay for it. They just chug it out the door, roll it down the street.
Is it too dear for them to have held for you? Is it too expensive, too high a risk for them to?
I can't see that being Macallan's problem. I really can't, because well, they've held it for 33 years. Surely they can hold it for another couple of months. It's not going to do anything. But I thought that was bizarre. And then there's another bit as well. If you scroll down a wee bit, on the left-hand side, it says lot information, and it says delivery weight 2 kilograms. No, I think they need to readjust that in Whisky Hammer. But yeah, imagine that just popped up. Oh, I spent £5,000 a few years ago, forgot all about it. Oh, here's £1 million. I mean, who knows what that'll end up at? I mean, the way things are going, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
That's nice if you can get it. Nice if you can.
Oh, I wouldn't think you have something like that tucked away somewhere. You forgot all about it. Just to put a wee bit more perspective on it, they disclosed it to find out how much is in it, and it's holding, they say, 534 bottles of 33-year-old Macallan. Aye, again, who knows what that was? A bargain.
Hostile but honourable is a bargain.
Aye.
Yes, hostile but honourable. Yes, it's a bargain.
It is.
I mean, there's lots of bargains in whiskey out there. There's lots of things you could have bought last year for 1,000 or worth 12,000 now.
It's just nuts. It's nuts.
It's getting them.
It's getting them. Now, I thought that was nuts. Until we decided to check out what this was doing. Not the wee beastie. We're talking about Ardbeg. James, but like this, James, I'm being serious. Your whiskey's better than that Macallan that they've been pumping out recently. There's no question about that. Absolutely no question. If someone offered me to drink a bottle of that or a bottle of any of the Macallans that I've tasted over the last while, or a bottle of Silky, I'll take a Silky 10 times every time, and twice on a Sunday. But anyway, I digress. Remember last week we were talking about the Ardbeg, the cask that they chucked into a bog and then pulled out after a year, and then we're selling it on Block Bar by a NFT, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Well, the website Block Bar, they've sold 359 of these at 1 Ethereum each. That's about $3,000 a piece. What is going on? There's 97 of them still available, but this is the one that caught my eye here. Bubbly Lapwing 5, he's flipping his bottle. So he's flipping it, and he's looking 900 Ethereum for it. That's $2.6 million for a bottle of non-age statement whiskey that was dumped in a bog somewhere and pulled out. But I'm honestly sort of lost for words. I don't really know what I don't know. I don't know how you can even begin to justify any of that.
Some boys can do it. Some boys can do it, Marty.
But I mean, it's just insane. You know what I mean? It's just insane. Michael says that he's got a first release bottle of Proper 12, and it must be worth €20 by now. I'd like to hang on to that. I would hang on to that for a while. Just in case there's a riot breaks out and someone's looking at a petrol bomb or something like that, and you run out of petrol. Then these days, to be fair, it's still probably cheaper than diesel. And yeah, it's just nuts. Now, that's just the total crazy world at the minute. But here's a bottle that came out this week that we've talked about this before, and I don't think this gets anywhere near the recognition really that it should or could do. Should is the Writer's Tears Cask Strength annual release. The 2022 bottle was released this week. This is €140. So what, about say £110 or thereabouts, something like that. Proper limited edition. Fantastic whiskey, really, really good, really well crafted. It's a blend. So is Middleton very rare. This is the 12th edition of it, and it's limited to, it says on the bottle, 5,800. It says on the box 5,820 bottles. Now, if anybody is collecting whiskey, and I know you can't not talk about that these days, why are you not collecting that? If you want to spend stupid money on non-age statement Ardbegs and stuff, that's one that you really want to be picking up as a bargain. So
certainly is.
I mean, this been out since 2011. I think 2011 was the first one that came out of this, and I again sent a Writer's Tears over to a guy in Scotland, and it's well crafted, well done, and it's a superb whiskey for not big money. If you want to buy a few investment bottles, that's the one I would tell you to pick up, because you'll not go wrong with it. As a collectible and investment, I think it's and if you want to drink it, you won't be disappointed in it either. So what's not to like?
Definitely. There's a lot of collectible whiskies out there that have yet to hit the big time in terms of value and covetousness.
Well, that's it. And I mean, these days you can't ignore the secondary market. I know people say they do, but you can't really ignore it because it's a good indication of where you are as in general as to what people are regarding your stuff as. Maybe not something you have to focus on, but it's certainly you have to take into consideration these days because it's just such big business, and it's a sector of the market that people really have jumped on in the last couple of years. So yeah, anyway. Now, talking about Irish whiskey, you have Jameson and then everything else. That's basically what it is. And Jameson has been named Spirit of the Year in Ghana. Now,
Ghana?
In Ghana, in Africa, yeah. And I had to Google. Do you know what the currency of Ghana is? What the Ghanaian currency is?
Gannon pound.
No, it's a CD, CEDI, which is sort of what most money is like. It's kind of CD and nothing. And it's £9 a bottle in Ghana.
Wow.
For £7.50 a bottle. Now, please forgive me, I'm going to pronounce this girl's name wrong. You can see her there being awarded the trophy. She's the brand manager, Jeanette Kashi. I think it's Kashi, you pronounce it. Said Jameson is proud of this milestone. And so they should be. I know we tend to be a bit blasé about award ceremonies and stuff, but in order to get international recognition for Irish whiskey on any level, it's important for the whole industry, and it's nice that they're winning awards rather than maybe sort of the usual awards that you hear about quite a lot. So I thought that was nice to highlight that up. Yeah, that was nice.
What's next this week?
Well, I know. Like, you have to be culturally sensitive, Justin. You have to be culturally sensitive. You can't say that looks like an ice cream with a wafer written in it.
We don't want cancelled.
No, you don't want. You certainly don't want to mess with Sikhs. Sikhs are renowned for their fighting ability. So yeah, we'll not say anything about that. So this is Boris over wearing his turban, and he went to Delhi this week with the aim of trying to sign the free trade agreement. And why is it politicians dress up? Other countries must think, right, we'll make this idiot look as silly as possible. So they dress him up. But Shiva's brothers said that if they're able to do a free trade agreement, that they expect pretty much immediately to double their sales in India. Now, sales in India are quite small, but the potential, we talk about this all the time, is just enormous. And if they can get that, certainly whiskey from Northern Ireland will benefit from that, and they've said that. So, yeah, a huge potential market opening up there. I mean, Scotland, thank God, most of those distilleries, you probably double production over a very short period of time.
I know, and they still won't be able to keep up.
Well, I mean, big middle class in India, getting bigger and bigger all the time. What's not to like,
No. This is another one that you tend to rave about as well.
What?
Kirker?
Not the original Shamrock one. I didn't rate it very highly at all. But this is a new release. And this is from the guys in Drinksology. And anyone who doesn't know Kirker and Greer, they're an old Belfast. They're an old Belfast firm, and if you're ever in Belfast near the Cathedral Quarter, if you go down Academy Street and you look up, you can see the old Kirker and Greer building. It actually says it, but still there. It says Kirker and Greer on the building. Now, they've launched this 4-province blend in Tesco's, and they say it's a blend of 6 different whiskies from the 4 provinces of Ireland. So single malt, single grain, and pot still, matured in first fill ex-bourbon barrels and Oloroso sherry and mildly peated. So there's a lot going on there. So I hope
there's a hell of a lot going on there.
Yeah, I haven't tried this yet, but I hope it balances out. 60% grain, 40% of that's made up of malt and pot still. Now this is a thing that gets me, right? The liquids are from GND, Great Northern in Leinster, West Cork Distillery over in Munster, and the Shed Distillery in Connaught, right? And then, right, this is what it says. So we'll put that out as a question to people. See if you can guess what one it is. An unnamed heritage distillery in Ulster. Who could that be? I wonder.
Racking my brains, Marty. Can't really think of one.
An unnamed heritage distillery
All right.
in Ulster. Who would that possibly be? Why are they not just saying? Why did they not just say it's
They like to
Bushmills?
hide things under their bushels.
Why? I saw you done. See what you done there, Justin. Ta-da! Here all week, folks. Here all week. Why did they not just say it's Bushmills? Obviously, they've been told that they're not allowed to say it's Bushmills. Everybody knows. Everybody. I mean, it's just weird, and I think this is a bit of an issue that Bushmills have. There seems
It's proper 12 and discount. It's proper 12 and discount.
Is it on how much discount do we reckon would need to be before we would actually buy bottles of it? I mean, it says me who's bought a bottle in the States.
Peter Stewart thinks it's run of the mill, and William McLennan thinks he knows.
Yeah,
there you go.
William, a prize for our William. But no, as I say, it's I don't know. It's just something a bit odd about that. It just feels odd that it doesn't say Bushmills. I mean, have they been told they're not allowed to say that? I assume so. And if so, why? You know, everybody else has said, oh, okay, fair enough, and Bushmills have said no. I don't know. It just seems very strange to me, you know. But anyway,
who knows?
Lots of things seem very strange to me, Justin.
Now remember,
especially you.
Remember, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on Telegram. If you want to say hello, hit us up, say hello. If you want to give us a mention on your own podcast, or you want to backlink to us, feel free. It's at Irish Whisky Review. It's dead easy to find. Tonight, we have a special interview we did when Marty was still in America about whiskey submarines. I kid you not. I couldn't believe it. That's on the way very shortly. So also, you can, wherever you get your podcast from, on Apple or Google or Spotify or Amazon, just ask it, a smart speaker to play Irish Whisky Review, and we'll pop up. It's not always in the same order as this show. It's sometimes a different thing. It's sometimes a feature about a book. But you can get an audio version of this as well. You can watch YouTube on the go, and that's one of the best places to hit subscribe if you like what you're watching tonight. Now, Marty, what have we next? Anything more to do?
No, that's my run over of the news for this week. Yeah.
So anything can happen in the next half hour then?
This story flagged up to me. Basically, it was just a whiskey related story. And you know, we always try and do a little bit of environmental stuff because, well, it's important. And whenever we got talking to Drew, it was really good. It was really interesting. So yeah, we'll watch it and then we'll be discussion about it afterwards. Bushmills has a harbour just a few miles down the road from it, Dunseverick Harbour, where there's pretty much 380,000 from the government.
That's for the entire consortium. Absolutely. Yeah, this is to do the feasibility study.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Stingray! Anything can happen in the next half hour.
anything at all. Now, we're joined. This is whiskey related, but you have to be patient with us, folks. Just be patient with us. This is the future, and it's coming courtesy of Ocean Ways and Drew Brewhab down below us. Now, welcome. Tell us about Ocean Ways and what the project is.
So we are building the world's first zero-emission cargo submarine fleet. So it's basically a new market of underwater transport system we're building. But the main mission is around cleaning up the ocean. So the goal is to restore the ocean. So our submarines have microplastic filters. We have got sensors that can help us collect ocean data. And then to commercially make it viable, we have cargo transport. So the subs run on hydrogen, absolutely zero emission. The only emission is water.
Okay.
Wow.
This sounds very futuristic. Now, these are unmanned.
Yeah.
They're basically pilotless submarines. Why a submarine and not a ship? What's the benefits?
So anyone like operating or living in an island community will know that they are at the front line of climate change. And then they are the ones being hit by unreliable deliveries on dirty vessels today as well. And also someone living up in Scotland and other island communities, I suspect, will know that their fleet is aging right now. So our submarines can provide reliable deliveries underwater because we are underwater and we are mostly immune to what is happening on top of the surface, apart from loading and unloading. So we can bring that reliability to those island communities, again with zero emission, and being a part of giving back to the ocean rather than extracting from the ocean. So net positive transport.
That's literally incredible, Dhruv. That is absolutely unbelievably incredible. This is called thinking outside the box, in the box. This is what deliveries to islands should be, because it can go year round. It doesn't matter about the waves, the wind, anything. It's incredible. It doesn't even need a crew. It could be completely autonomous.
Yeah, it is autonomous right now. So design is to be port-to-port autonomous operations, and also in the future autonomous loading unloading as well.
Wow. Now, I need to get my head around this. It goes, is it 50 meters below the sea?
Yeah.
And is that more fuel efficient? Is that cleaner in terms of how much energy it uses?
50 meters is mostly derived from the fact that we don't want to hit any big vessel on top. The aircraft carriers, for example, around 13 meters, but some of the biggest container ships are around 23 meters draft they have. So to avoid all that vessels on top, and then of course escape the weather as well. That can be around 10, 20 meters, but 10,
I suppose you don't want it mistaken for a torpedo.
That's the other thing we have is working with allies and non-allies on underwater communication to make sure that people know we are a friendly vehicle or who we are. So the whole game is stealth underwater, but we are here. Our design is not around stealth and not around depth. So we're going super shallow, and we want to be visible. So we're working with different operators underwater to let them know who we are and that we are a friendly vessel and not an enemy.
Yeah. Marty and me actually know an admiral who actually might like this to arrive, actually.
Oh, yeah. Now, the focus of this is for you primarily to collect data on what's happening in the ocean and to clean up microplastics. But in order to do this and to fund it, you want to carry cargo.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, you've said the ideal cargo to carry, and this is why you're on here, is whiskey. Now, why that?
Liquid cargo is much more easier for us to carry than solid cargo because of the density issues with cargo, different kinds of density. So we have to make our vehicle neutrally buoyant underwater. With liquid cargo, is much more easier, and then it's a high value cargo as well. In the Scottish Islands and in Ireland. So a high value cargo and liquid, I think whiskey is the ideal candidate for that on the one-way trips. Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly why. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of distilleries are in and around the coast for various reasons. Certainly on the islands in Scotland, for example, Islay is what springs to mind. Now, how big are these submarines? How in terms of length, how big are they?
The design right now, the first one is around 21 meters long. And it can carry one 20-foot container worth of cargo. So we're looking at around 21 tons of cargo as well.
21 tons of cargo.
Yeah.
So in how you envisage this, it pulls up into Port Ellen and Islay.
Yeah.
Lefroy put 21 tons of whiskey in it, and it just sails away. It just scoots away to
That's correct.
Because-
In a local marina, like you said, most of the distilleries have their own little marina, and our
Yeah.
goal is to come rock up in the marina. In an ideal world, an electric van will deliver or bring a tanker or deliver a cargo from the distillery to the vehicle. We fill it up and off it goes, on its own. Loading, unloading should be autonomous. But again, for security, if there's a lot of whiskey coming in, imagine a rumor, a rumor in a marina, in anywhere, in a destination port. We may not actually get the vehicle; it may get picked up well before by the community. So we have to make sure there's enough security as well. I mean, even the military loves it. There's a vehicle with rum in it or whiskey in it. It's very interesting for them, more than a torpedo, I would say.
Give us an idea of scale, Dhruv. What size is 21 tons? Is that the size of a London bus, is it?
It's 1 20-foot container. When you say shipping container, so that's one shipping container. Yeah, it's split into, I would say, if you keep that's the whole volume. Yeah.
So now, the Scottish whisky industry have goals to be net zero within a few years, and Bruichladdich have a hydrogen generation program it's up and running. I think it's heading that way. Do you see that as like a symbiotic sort of partnership?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're already in the journey. The journey is to decarbonize their supply chain, decarbonize their production mostly right now. We can actually help them decarbonize the supply chain. So that's the natural fit. And they're already in hydrogen production. They know how to handle hydrogen gas. And we all know would be an ideal partner because we can refuel there as well in the marina or wherever if they have got the hydrogen facilities. So absolutely, the industry is moving in the right direction. And we're looking for brands like the Bruichladdich you mentioned right now to be one of our partners. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see little, basically refineries or little fuel generating stations where you can pull up, refuel, they power the distillery, and you can go on your merry way with the submarine.
Yeah. All those electrolyzers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that'd be cool. I mean, we have a good range right now, 300 nautical miles, but then we don't even need to have that kind of nautical mile range if you're operating just in around the Scottish Islands.
Yeah, 300 miles is longer than I thought. Now, how does the engine work? Because some people might not be familiar with hydrogen technology. How does a hydrogen engine differ, or is it the same?
Tricky, very tricky. So it's an electric motor in the end. So everything is electric. Whenever you hear about hydrogen, mostly 99% is mostly electric motor that it powers. Mm-hmm. So there's always a battery involved as well to start, stop, and to deal with the peak energy requirement, because the fuel cell operates optimum when it's performing very stable at the point in time. So the hydrogen fuel cell that we have right now needs hydrogen and oxygen to generate power. And once it generates power, it charges a battery, or it can run the motor directly, depending on how you design the electricals. So for us now, it powers the battery, but it also charges it powers the motor and also charges the battery as well. But what is different for our case, that is where the real innovation is. Mm-hmm. A hydrogen fuel cell needs hydrogen and air to operate outside. So it converts hydrogen and air to water, and in the process, it makes electricity. Very easy to do outside, on a train, on a bus, or on a plane, because you carry hydrogen, but you have got air outside to really play with. Underwater, there is no air. So we have to actually carry our own oxygen underwater as well. Not air, oxygen, pure oxygen. And then it actually, of course, leads to a lot more volume and cylinders we have to carry. And making a fuel cell work underwater in this environment is the tricky bit. And that is where exactly the innovation is. How do we make underwater fuel cells work where there is no air? And how do you keep it safe as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, of course, use that, charge the battery, and then it runs the motor.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Could you not extract the oxygen from the salty water? No,
it's not efficient at all right now. But maybe in the future it becomes efficient. So use more energy to extract than we get.
Understand you.
Okay. Yeah. Now you've received a grant from the UK government for this, which was it 380,000 from the government?
That's for the entire consortium. Absolutely. Yeah, this is to do the feasibility study to understand if it is feasible to build and operate a vehicle from Glasgow to Belfast, to de-risk the financial and technical risk. And that is exactly what we're doing right now, to identify the routes, the cargo type, but also technically as well, if it's feasible or not, and what would be the options.
We've solved Brexit. They'll never know the stuff's coming.
Boris doesn't get to build his bridge, but we can get unmanned submarines. Much cheaper, much cheaper. Now, with whiskey, obviously it's a flammable product and so on, so that must carry some dangers. But underwater is probably safer than being.
I think we are more. I think the vessel itself is more dangerous than the whiskey. It carries hydrogen and oxygen straight away, right next to each other. So safety is number one priority to make sure that the vessel does not explode or nothing goes wrong. But underwater, it can be a bit more easier than on the surface. But then we do not want any explosion out there. So safety is number one priority to load, unload the whiskey, and more than the whiskey is the hydrogen and oxygen. And the oxygen we're going to be loading. That is much more flammable than the whiskey itself. And we do not want to be, create big noise in the north in the middle of the night and trigger a lot of people's interest globally.
We don't want too many explosions in Belfast. We had a few of them for a while in case you hadn't heard. Now, in and around the islands of Scotland and Ireland as well, you see this transportation moving. You envisage a fleet of these?
Yeah.
Just to run autonomously?
Yeah, I think Justin asked as well about the scale. So we, first of all, before we think about scale, we have to get operational experience.
Yeah.
So we need to know that we can run this and make it happen before we start dreaming about how big this can be. The other question is, why it should be big? Because people think it should be big because that's how people are used to thinking. A big plane, a big container vessel, right?
Yeah.
We are thinking radically, though. You know about cryptocurrency, you know about decentralization very well. Everything is moving to decentralization, localized production, right? Rather than going to a centralized facility. So we're looking at decentralized distribution. So it can be multiple of these submarines working as schools of fish that can actually make it more efficient, and someone can chip in and help each other. So depending on the depth, we can be flexible. We can do a lot of cool stuff with that. All of them huddled together. It can be like a train, a sea train as well. So multiple of those, containers are between, but we have got the main propulsion in the behind and the main navigation unit in the front. So these are some of the things to explore. But before we explore and talk about all these dreams and possibilities, we would like to get out in the water and do some operation.
What you're actually saying is you don't want it to be the A380 of submarines too big to succeed. It needs special infrastructure everywhere. Like
the A380, too big to succeed, and they have all stopped operations now. There's no new A380 out there. Yeah, exactly. But again, we are disrupting this new this world of transportation, thinking radically. So to decarbonize the entire transport system, if we disrupt, we may have to disrupt a lot more things. We may have to build our own port infrastructure, but we would try to avoid doing that. So it is easier to integrate to any port. But if there's a scenario that we may have to change the port infrastructure for specific needs, then we may have to do it. For example, today the container vessels are designed to work efficiently in a container port, right? And then a bulk carrier is designed to operate in a bulk carrier port, different port infrastructure. So depending on the cargo type, and our vehicles will change depending on the cargo type as well, we may have to change some of the port infrastructure going forward. But the goal is to make it work right now in the existing infrastructure. But we are open to changing because we are redesigning and we cannot be bogged down by existing standards.
No.
But your submarine is so. It's so compact that realistically it could bring old ports back into play that were no longer viable as ports because it could come in. The infrastructure could be lowered over to the side or on a pontoon at the side of an existing port, and then it could dock automatically there. So it could bring new life into old harbours, couldn't it, Dhruv?
That's exactly. I think we can bring back life to old harbors, go more inland as well, and bring the community where they've lost it for different reasons. A lot of ports and fishing, for example, we can bring them back to life using our new solution. And that is exactly, I think, where we will shine more than the big port infrastructure because they're designed for 1,800 containers at least, and we are just one or two container. And by going to these little ports, we can take away all the truck journeys from the main port
Yeah.
to those little ports and the communities there, and the
Yes.
other dirty ferry journeys. So we can really get them stuff directly with zero emission. Absolutely.
And also, if you aren't going into ports like Tilbury, which is already overwhelmed by a lot of traffic going up the Thames estuary, it avoids the heavy shipping that well, you have to go 50 meters below the waves to avoid.
Yeah. We have to go 50 meters, but not necessarily 50 meters. I think we'll be okay around 30 meters. I think that'll be okay. 50 meters is real safe. 30 meters will be okay as long as we know what is going on top of that. Yeah, we love to come up the River Thames and do some delivery into central London in the middle of night, but not during the traffic hours. But yeah, little ports.
What sort of speed does it go underneath the water? I mean, it gives it in knots and miles and kilometers as well, if you can.
Yeah, so we are doing around right now. It's around 8 knots, but then 8 knots at 300 nautical mile range. But if we reduce the range to around, say, 120 nautical miles, we can do around 12 knots. Operating in the Isle of Islay and Jura, as you know, the current's super hard. So we have to fight a lot with the current. So I think we will definitely need around 10 to 12 knots to fight against the current as well. So that's the goal, 12 knots. But again, we have to operate. We have to learn from the experience.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't do 20-foot containers anymore, but maybe we do more frequent and nimble delivery. So smaller capacity like a van, but we do much more frequently rather than a big container. So we do small quantity, but more frequently and faster. That may be the way forward. But again, we don't know till we start operating.
Do you envisage, maybe this is going too far, do you envisage delivery from, say, a distillery straight to the end user, to pubs and clubs, because you are much more nimble?
Yeah. So I mean, again, this is way
it's way in front.
But yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, for example, if we can deliver to a city center now, where there are a lot of cargo bikes, for example, the last mile delivery. So what we're doing now is the first mile and the last mile. First mile, electric truck, electric van. Our submarines, electric truck, electric van. But in cities like London and other big cities in Europe, we have got cargo bikes now. And we feed the cargo bikes. Yeah, we can go straight to the city center. Absolutely. Middle of the night.
It's incredible. What's your background? How did you, or are you a spaceman or something? How did you think of this?
No, I mean, usually you will find me cycling on rivers around the world. So it's my road bike on the water in the UK, then in the US and in the Netherlands, collecting plastic rubbish. And then I thought, I got a lot of views. It went viral, around 300 million views on alt media in the world. And I thought, all right, okay, 300 million views are great. But then where is the real tangible impact? And that's when I started investing in startups solving the plastic crisis to convert those 300 million views to 300 million tons of plastic and carbon from the economy. And now I'm doing my own thing because I want to get my hands dirty, and I think time is running out. So it helped me a lot to be as a management consultant, to have done some investments around this area. So I got a great network to really make it happen. And I think that has been really helpful with my personal network to really push this forward all the time.
Yeah. Now, how have you approached any distilleries or any whiskey manufacturers?
I'm looking now. Yeah, so I'm looking for interested distillers to really work with and to work and help them in their journey to decarbonize their supply chain, the transport, and anything else. So I'm looking for some of the distilleries to really support them. I mean, I think that is what you guys would be able to help me. Get those interested distilleries to really support them. Yeah, in any way I can. Not just the submarine, but anything else as well. We've got a lot of hydrogen experience too.
Yeah, the goal to move away from carbon and usage, and also just in terms of rubbish. Microplastics. Microplastics is one of these areas that people talk about, but they're not actually aware of just the damage that microplastics do to the environment and to waterways and thus and to whiskey. Could you explain a bit more about microplastics to us?
Yes, so what are microplastics? These are like when the plastics break down into little pieces and little pieces and little pieces. So now, while, say, for example, a water bottle, that people chuck on the curb by wind from the bin. It falls into the canal. From the canal, it goes to the river, and from the river, it goes to the ocean. And the ocean, the wave action and the weather breaks it down to smaller pieces and smaller pieces of plastics. Okay, becomes really small. And as you know, plastic is made out of harmful chemicals as well that are really not good for any kind of, animal, including humans. So as the plastics become smaller and smaller, they become very sharp pieces of material that actually leaks those chemicals as well. And all the chemicals combine together with the microplastics to become very dangerous cocktails. Okay. Now this is in the water in the ocean. Now the plankton start eating them. And the fish starts eating the planktons. Now it starts being caught by the fishing vessels, and before you know it, it actually ends up in our dinner table. And we are eating those microplastics with those chemicals that combine together to form dangerous cocktails. And then this is really harmful for humans, for babies, for young children. That's one thing we're talking about microplastics from bottles or everything. The other microplastics or little plastic particles are from car tires. We have got electric trucks and electric vans, but the moment you use the truck, the tires, it releases microplastics to the environment. The other thing, the biggest thing is our clothing. All the apparel that you're wearing, for example, the fleece and everything, all made out of like plastics, polyester. Every time you wash, 750 pieces actually get released to the environment and to the waterway, and back it goes to the ocean. And the route I told you, fish back to us on dinner plate. So people have sampled fresh water, they have sampled beer, they have sampled whiskey as well, I believe, and they have found microplastics in those in all kinds of liquid form. So I don't know a lot about the whiskeys, but if you start experimenting, it's all over the place. Every water, tap water or drinking like the bottled water, has microplastics inside it. Tap water is much better than bottled water.
I was going to have a drink of tea there, but I don't think I'll bother now.
It's more dangerous now because the tea bags are made
plastic.
Of plastic.
Yep.
Actually, there. You don't have to worry for it to get back to you.
I knew that. I actually knew that, Marty. They don't actually dissolve when you throw them away up the forest anymore because they're actually made of plastic.
Right. I'm going to have a whiskey in that way. There's probably less plastic in it. Now, so when you send out the submarine, it's going to filter microplastics out each journey.
So, see, the goal is not to clean up the ocean. We cannot clean up the ocean.
No.
This is the ocean. The goal is we have the filters to collect the microplastics as we can, and we keep on learning. The goal is to learn. At different routes in Scotland, Ireland, or in the North Sea, things are different. We don't know the concentration of microplastics at those different routes we're operating. We don't know the concentration levels at different depth as well. We don't know. And that is exactly what we're trying to find out using our sensors and the filters. To first, we figure out what exactly is the concentration level, and we increase our knowledge of what is happening on a daily basis on regular routes. So we got today, we got tomorrow. We can start finding a time series of difference, and we can figure out what exactly is happening, why is it coming, and maybe we try to have a better understanding of what's going on there. Again, cleaning up is not the solution. To solve this problem, we have to stop plastic at the source.
Yeah.
But to gain more knowledge and information, and we clean up as much as we can. But I'll be honest, we don't know how much is the quantity. No one knows the quantity at that level, at that part of the world.
I think we could probably guess it's not good. It's not going to be a good number.
It's in the Arctic, it's in Antarctic, it's up in the Himalayas, it's everywhere. It's in
everywhere.
The desert. So yeah.
Now, time scale. Where are you in terms of development and possibly bringing it onto the commercial market?
Yeah, the goal is still to have something deployed. Like we'll do a commercial, like a little trial in the US this year in the next few months. But the goal is to actually do some trial in the UK by the end of this year. So may not be the 20-meter one because it's quite big and 60-ton vehicle. Maybe we build a smaller one around less than 10 meters and something that we can really manage in a good way to show people that this is possible and we can test our autonomous algorithm, the loading and unloading. So looking for end of year to do something. Otherwise, mid next year, I think we should definitely have something in the water.
So by possibly to the end of this year, we can see this pulling into Belfast. And
that's my goal. That's
unloading crates of hard bag over onto the harbour.
Yeah. That's the goal, but we never know. We're looking for partners right now to make it happen, and we are doing some fundraising as well in the next in a few weeks. So again, it all depends on the fundraising. How quickly can we raise the money to do it? So it all depends. It all depends on a lot of things.
So we'll put it like this: you are monitoring the ocean, you are cleaning up a little bit of the ocean, you are involving, there's citizen science involved in it, and you're moving whiskey about. What's not to like here, Drew? What's not to like about this?
I know, exactly, yeah. We need one of your whiskey distilleries to fund the first vehicle as the founding partner.
I think it's one of the most.
I think it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's incredibly imaginative. I mean, let's face it, it's only about just over 100 nautical miles from Belfast to the Scottish Islands.
Yeah.
That would take you maybe 10, 12 hours from point to point overnight. That would be incredible for delivery. Take hundreds of trucks off the road potentially.
Yeah.
It's just literally totally incredible. I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't want to go down? I mean, you could literally put people on these if it has oxygen aboard it. You could put people on board these, couldn't you?
There's no windows on it, Justin. I can see it. I mean, the likes of, for example, Bushmills. Bushmills has a harbour just a few miles down the road from it, Dunseverick Harbour, where there's pretty much nothing there anymore. It's it's pleasure craft and stuff. I mean, so instead of having to transport it all the way to wherever, I mean, it could just be loaded straight onto that and sent away.
Yeah,
incredible. I personally think it's a fantastic project that it ticks so many boxes. And I hope the Scotch whisky industry and the Irish whisky industry and even the English whisky industry, which is now up and running, jump on board and make it a reality.
absolutely. Yeah. I look forward to anyone interested in becoming the founding partners of this incredible mission that we have right now to build the world's first net positive transport system. Not net zero, net positive. We're giving it up the ocean. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if you come to this part of the world, I would love to live stream the actual submarine submerging and re-emerging from the water. I would live stream that to all the Irish Whiskey Review viewers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We will be there operating soon, so we will definitely be out there, and we are exploring different routes, Islay, Jura, Orkney as well. So all kinds of routes.
Honestly, I think whenever I heard about the project, I thought we have to get you on and hear about this because it just sounds amazing, so futuristic, so positive in every aspect. And
it's all possible. It's all possible. There's nothing new happening here. So it's been done many years. And the cargo submarines are not a new concept. They're bringing the business World War I. It's only about finding the business model to make it work. But then, we are very confident we can do this from a technology perspective because this can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, keep us up to date with what's going on. Let us know when you're talking into Belfast, and me and Justin will go down and live stream this. And if you're bringing whiskey over to us, even better.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Justin and Martin. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
thanks very much, Drew.
Take care.
Take care.
No. No. Back.
Honestly, now imagine this as a mode of transport for whiskey, rather than driving it all the way around the roads and all. You could take it up the Clyde and store it on. I mean, it's just a fantastic project, and we were talking to him for quite a bit off camera.
I thought I'd seen it all until the scene.
Honestly, whenever we were talking to him, he's so passionate, so clever,
yes.
So clever. Really, I mean, properly, he's like Bond villain, bad clever. That kind of way. Do you know what I
mean? He is from
honestly,
the Spy Who Loved Me. Yes, his knowledge of submarines is Spy Who Loved Me level. So
really great guy.
Really great guy.
That idea of being able to take new technology, bringing life into the old harbours and stuff, which is dotted all. I mean, they're dotted all over the place around the British Isles, and being able to transport whiskey to a bottling plant. I mean, Belfast's sitting right on the lagoon. Instead of trundling it all down the road and such, get one of these, pull it round, get it unloaded, get it bottled, get it away. Fantastic.
Well, 100 years ago, we used to have coasters in and out all the small harbours, all up and down, round the British Isles and further afield. And you know, that autonomous submarines like that's basically bringing that back again. You know, without the need for loads of dockers, loads of sailors, loads of you know, labor-intensive ships. You know, the fact that it's actually, you know, a hydrogen electric motor is unbelievable. It's basically like one of those buses that Wright bus make that send to London. That's basically
something very similar technology. But the fact that it's actually possible, and the Whisky, because the way he said it, you know, it's high value liquid product to take away. The only other high value liquid product that people use was oil. And I mean, we're trying to move away from oil, and oil is being replaced by whiskey. Well, hey, whiskey conquers again. You know, that's. I mean, it's a fantastic thing. So, yeah, you can. Bruichladdich are doing that whiskey.
Frank's hit it in the head. He says, so by drinking whiskey transported by this system, we will be saving the planet.
Why we keep bringing this stuff up. Whiskey is going to save the world. And don't forget, we also done an interview with a professor at Guelph University who's trying to get barley growing on the moon because he wants whiskey on the moon. So we're saving the planet here, and we're going to change the environment on the moon, all by drinking whiskey. Honestly, guys, God, we're good. Oh, they should have our own Saints' Day rather than St. George. It should be Saint Whiskey.
The Peter Stewart hitting something there. There would have to be hydrogen and oxygen in each harbour to refuel. I wonder if that would be delivered by regular tanker. Where hydrogen and oxygen is readily available in Belfast and most major industrial cities.
How you produce hydrogen and oxygen is through electrolysis and splitting water. Now you need the energy to do that, but the energy can come from renewable sources and green energy. There's no reason why the infrastructure for this can't be made. I mean, there's absolutely no reason. I mean, at the minute, Scotland exports energy, and not just in terms of oil. It exports energy in terms of wind power. And there's pretty much nobody in Scotland. Little place, there's only what, 5.5 million people, a little bit more than that, in the whole of Scotland. It's one of the least densely populated places in Europe. Ireland's even worse. I mean, there's only 6 million people live in the whole of Ireland. Wind power can power that. So it's at the minute there's issues with that, but go forward. The technology's there, and you can have all of this and moving it about, and moving whiskey about, etc., and other goods as well. But we had a ball talking to him afterwards and stuff. I mean, he's just a really, really nice guy who started off doing, but it's probably quite a silly looking little project, but it's, I mean, doing his little bit, and here he is coming up with some that if Elon Musk was saying he was doing this,
a lot of
it would be all over the news. You know, it would be all over. So this is a guy trying to do this, and he's using the idea of whiskey and whiskey distilleries to move stuff about. Whiskey saves the world again, guys! Hooray!
Before you complain, I'm having a pink gin because I'm in London.
No, that'll be about right. I'm on my short cross. This is lovely. It noses like bubble gum, and at the minute it's like lime, limeade. You know, lime cordial, limeade. It's that kind of thing. But it tastes totally different in noses. It's superb stuff. It's really, really nice. What's a nice barley notes.
Great show this week. What's next week, Marty?
Justin, we weren't 100% certain sure what was on this tonight before about 2 hours ago. so we're doing an interview during the week, and we'll see what happens. It might go out next week. It might go out the week after. But I have lots of stuff that we can put out, including some controversy and debate as to where the word whiskey comes from. Yeah. Yes. I read a book, and then I was reading something totally separate the same day.
Okay. We'll keep that. Right.
And they both had this in it. That the word whiskey doesn't come from Ushkaba. Controversial? Possibly. we'll need to get Finoan on, find out if whether it's true or not. You know. Yes, pink gin, Tony. This is Justin. Justin does these kind of things to us. You know, he drinks pink gin and cocktails with sparklers and Del Boy-esque stuff coming out of it.
I know. I think I need another one. Right, bottoms up. Catch you again next week. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, like, and share. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Telegram. And don't start the row about whiskey and its origins. It's from the Middle East, where they don't drink, allegedly.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, same time, same place next week. James Doherty, there you go. We'll see you then. Thank you very much. And remember, if you want to sponsor the show, you know where to hit us up. It's at Irish Whiskey Review, and we'll sort you out a deal which will, reach over 10,000 people at least over a couple of weeks.
I think over the last month, we've had about 60,000 people over reach.
That's pretty good going. Pretty good going.
Yeah.
There you go. Very enjoyable. We enjoyed doing it. That's why we're still doing it. Yep, exactly right, Marty.
Spend time in your company.